We'll be live on both.
Okay, awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get started then. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the April 27th meeting of the SFDCCC. My name is Honey Mahogany, and I'm chair of the San Francisco Democratic Party, and I am now calling this meeting to order. Just want to welcome everyone back to the meeting today. I know April has been a really, really busy month and there's been a lot going on. You know, I did want to just offer my congratulations to Assemblymember-elect Haney for winning that race, and also, of course, also acknowledge the outstanding work and dedication and campaign of our very own state vice chair, David Campos. And I, look forward to working with both folks moving forward to really help move California forward. So again, congratulations to both parties, and looking forward to seeing what the future brings. With that, I know that we also have a lot more elections in store. This is like the year of crazy elections all over the place. We have another election coming up in June, and then of course one in November, the big one. So there's lots to discuss over the next few months, a lot to organize around, and I am really looking forward to working with everybody on this body around making sure we get Democrats turned out to vote, and also letting them know those items in which we have endorsed. So more updates on that later, but before we go any further, Madam Recording Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Absolutely, Chair. Member Avalos. Member Baraka. Member Barry, I see your proxies here. Member Campos. Member Chen.
Here.
Member Dufty. Member Galata.
Here.
Member Haney.
Here by proxy.
Member Ibanez.
Here by proxy.
Thank you. Member Kim.
Here by proxy.
Member Lacroix. Member Lee here. Member Loftus.
Here by proxy.
Member Lovett.
Here.
Member Mahogany. Or
Here.
Chair Mahogany. Member Mandelman.
This is by proxy.
Member Marr.
Here by proxy.
Member Malika.
Excused.
Member Morales.
Here.
Member Raja is also excused. Member Ronan. Member Thomas.
Here.
Member Tung.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting.
Here.
Thank you. Member Williams.
So
Member Feinstein.
Oh, I'm sorry, Williams is excused.
is Robbie part of Al's team?
Member Feinstein.
Sorry, here by proxy.
Thank you. Member Pelosi. Member Spear. Member Kounalakis. Member Ma is excused. Member Cohen.
We're
Proxy.
not
Member Weiner.
with the sound problem.
And Member Ting.
Proxy.
And just to go back to the top, Member Avalos.
Here.
Thank you. Member Baraka. I don't think I see anyone else. So if you do arrive, just if you can note in chat, that'd be great. Thank you. And we do have quorum.
Wait, is this even soon enough for August?
I'm sorry, I don't know. Somebody is unmuted and we can hear you talking. So I would just check to see if you are not unmuted, or if you're muted, to make sure everyone is muted if you're not speaking. Really quickly, Recording Secretary Lee, I don't know if I said this earlier, but Member Dufty is also excused. Okay, great. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Recording Secretary. We will now move on to the approval of the meeting agenda, which is, I believe everyone has the 72-hour notice in front of them. I don't believe that there were any changes that were made. So is there a motion to approve the meeting agenda?
I'll move it for approval.
All right, thank you so
Second.
much. Awesome. Are there any amendments that need to be made? Seeing none, can we approve the agenda without objection?
So moved.
All right, thank you so much. We will approve the meeting agenda without objection. We will now move on to the approval of the meeting minutes. Colleagues, you have these, should have these as well. Is there a motion for this item?
Can I make a quick change to the
Sure.
minutes?
Mhm.
On resolution number 12, resolution in support of protecting sexual assault survivor DNA, Feinstein voted yes on that. Thank you.
Thank you for that correction. Any other amendments that need to be made to the agenda? Or I'm sorry, to the meeting minutes? I don't see any other hands. Can we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes as amended?
So moved.
I mean,
Second.
Thank you. Can we take this without objection? All right, without objection, the meeting minutes are passed and approved. We will now move on to item number 4, which is general public comment. This is an opportunity for the general public to engage with the members of the Democratic Party and speak on any of the items that are on our agenda today. So I will turn this portion of the meeting over to our Executive Director, Moises Garcia, to help facilitate this portion of the meeting. Thank you, Director Garcia.
Oops, I'm on mute. Sorry about that. Great. If you'd like to make public comment, please use the raise hand function, which can be found at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you are listening to this meeting via your phone, please dial *9 to enter the queue. If you encounter any difficulties, please send an email to info@sfdemocrats.org. Each speaker will have 1 minute to address the SF DCCC. I'll promote folks in the order I see your hands raised, and thank you for your patience. There's one hand currently raised, and I'm promoting Susan Pfeiffer at this moment. Go ahead, Susan.
Good evening, Democrats. How are you? I guess I'm the lone speaker tonight, so I'm just going to give a couple of recaps. First of all, I just bailed off a phone bank so I could be at this meeting, but just a reminder, the Bay Area Coalition, of which we are a proud part, is having phone banks weekly every Wednesday evening from 5 to 7 and Saturday morning from 10 to noon. And I don't think anyone here disagrees how important this election is going to be. We got to take back Congress, or we got to increase our majority in Congress and in the Senate so we can get something done. And there is a new candidate in District 22, Rudy Salas, who will be the only Democrat on the ballot this time, so we can start promoting him right away. We're also calling into Arizona to help Mark Kelly in the Senate, and Nevada to help Catherine Cortez Masto and Governor Sisolak, so that we can keep Nevada blue as well. The other thing is our high school graduation voter registration project, which is moving forward beautifully. And thanks to Moises and Honey for the support. We are finalizing, we hope, the palm cards that we'll hand out. It's a 3-day marathon. We'll be at Kezar Stadium, May 31st, June 1st, and June 2nd. There will be 4 high schools per day graduating, starting at about 8 in the morning, 8 or 9 in the morning, and going till 5 in the afternoon. So we're going to need volunteers for every shift. We'll hand out the cards. It will have a QR code on it. And I have this fantasy in my head that the graduates will be sitting at the stadium next to their mother, because I think the mother's the one that's going to motivate them to vote, but that's just me personally. Registering to vote, and the mother's going to say, "Put your phone away. What are you doing on your phone?" "I'm registering to vote, Mom." "Oh, okay, keep doing that." So that's the goal. And there's going to be over 4,000 people graduating over the 3 days. So we are partnering with the League of Women Voters, which is a little bit unusual, but they are offering some support financially.
I'm Stephanie Hughes.
Hello?
Continue.
Oh, sorry. They are offering some financial support, and it also gives us a different credibility. And they're offering volunteers as well to help. It's our first time to partner with them, so we're tiptoeing through that. So that's pretty much it on that. I will, in fact, Moises, I'll send you the link to Eventbrite that you can share with members so they can, if they have time during the day, can volunteer to help at a shift. Because I have an Eventbrite set up that has all 3 dates and the different shifts on that. So that's my report.
Great, thank you, Susan. Next, we have Jordan Davis.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Kind of sparse night tonight, but anyway, first I'd like to say we need to get back in person. They just lifted the mask mandate for public meetings, and I think it's about time we start getting back in person because of everything. Also, I support the increasing the minimum wage resolution around social media. This is good. This is good praxis. Democrats need to run on economic issues to win in 2022. And I'll just conclude by saying, I hope you read the article in the Chronicle about supportive housing by Joaquin Palomino and Trisha Dadani. It's very heart-wrenching. And if you want to work with me on some resolutions around supportive housing, which I've pushed in the past, please contact me. A lot of you have my number, a lot of you have my email, so please contact me. And thank you very much. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you for your comments. That's all the speakers that have raised their hands. Chair Mahogany.
Thank you so much, Executive Director Garcia, and thank you to the members of the public for providing public comment. And thank you, Susan Pfeiffer, for all of your work on behalf of the Democratic Party and Democrats all across the nation. So moving on in our agenda, we will now go on to item number 5, which is officer reports. Starting with a report from the chair. Again, there has been a lot going on in the last few months, or this last month in particular. One of the big things that has come up, and I don't want to go too much into it, but was the redistricting that happened. And there was a lot of controversy around that and how that will impact future elections here in San Francisco. I think that there are a lot of conversations to be had around that, but what I would like to bring into this meeting is specifically how divisive some of the conversations were. And I think it was really hurtful to many different communities, and specifically around both Black and API communities, and specifically the Chinese community here in San Francisco. And so I just want to take this opportunity to say, I think that we do have a lot more work to do in terms of building API and Black solidarity. And I know that that we as the Democratic Party can also take a part in that and lead in that. And so I really want to move forward the Black and API Solidarity Committee that we have here at the San Francisco Democratic Party. And I'm really encouraging all the folks who want to participate in that, who want to help build solidarity between these two communities to reach out to Executive Director Garcia, and that way we can go ahead and start setting up a meeting and figuring out how we can further bridge some of the gaps that we have and start to have some conversations. And if there are difficult conversations that need to be had, that we need to talk out, I think that would be good too. But I think it's really important to the city and the future of the city that we really work on building solidarity where we can. So that's what I really wanted to focus on. I also will say that, and I think this might actually also be later on in the agenda, but I'll go ahead and comment on it now as well. We did meet with as the Gender Equity Committee, and we have another meeting coming up. We are going to be moving forward some of those recommendations from that group, but first we're going to be having conversations within the community and engaging with folks what people would want to see added to the San Francisco Democratic Party's platform in regards to making sure that we are being inclusive and also a safe space for women and for people of all genders and also survivors. So I just wanted to provide that update. And with that, I will conclude my chair's report, as I know many of the other things I want to comment on, other folks are raring to talk about. So I will now pass it on to Vice Chair Lacroix for outreach.
Yeah, I figured that there's a lot happening right now and people want to hear from the more pressing items for other folks. So I'll pass my time on to them, but I will share an email. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Vice Chair Lacroix. We'll then go to Vice Chair Baraka for voter registration. Oh, Vice Chair Baraka, you are muted.
Sorry about that. I'm sorry, I'm in my car, but I just wanted to thank Susan Pfeiffer for all of her work and getting the high school program up and going. If you can, please volunteer for one of the shifts through Eventbrite. Also, Sunday Streets is coming up, and as Jordan mentioned, mask mandate is gone. We're meeting more in person, so let's get out there to some of these street fairs and see if we can get some folks signed up. And we're also going to hopefully be able to do some more canvassing, but instead of just leaving pump carts, we're going to be actually knocking on doors. So more to follow on that. That is all.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair Baraka. We will now move on to issues and resolutions and turn it over to Vice Chair Levitt.
Thank you, Chair Mahogany. I actually want to speak to the very recent election for the state assembly seat in District 17 with Matt Haney moving from the Board of Supervisors to the state assembly. And so huge congratulations. Also, of course, former Chair David Campos, Member Campos was a very viable contender. And here's what I want to say to that is because, when you see people, of course, Democrats in San Francisco, but also people considered to be on the same aisle running, we have to think about the bigger picture beyond the drama and the debates that have happened during this very intense campaign, right? So housing became this lightning rod, and it's a huge lightning rod, not just in the Bay Area community, but all over. So, Member Haney, Assembly Member Haney, we are delighted that you are going to represent us at the state level, and all eyes are in San Francisco in so many ways. And from the housing work that I have been doing in the last couple of months, my day job, we all know that the state is watching San Francisco to see if we will build enough housing. And we have to remember that the world is watching, but also the world of investors is watching to see how our housing market is performing. So there are people who do not just look at housing as housing for human beings to live in, humans and of course their pets and babies and anyone else, but they're looking at these as dollars and bottom lines. So I just want to remind everyone who is going into office in this important role, and especially with our new Assembly Member Haney, it's just not enough to say that we will build more housing. We must build housing for the people who can no longer afford to live in San Francisco. And I'm going to end what I'm going to say with just some numbers. So please bear with me. It might be a little wonky. I would show you a chart. But this comes from San Francisco's own planning department, where they do a housing inventory. And in 2020, they were looking at San Francisco's record on building affordable housing and actually non-affordable housing. We have consistently overreached on our goals building housing that's market rate. And so we hit 148% of those goals. And that was for the period from 2015 to 2022. For moderate income housing, we've hit 27%, the lowest. Low income, 47%, and then very low income housing, 33%. So those are not good numbers. They were actually worse than they were 2 years ago. And so I hope as a Democratic Party that we will continue to represent people who really need housing in San Francisco. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Levitt. We will now move on to Vice Chair Galata for partnerships.
Thank you, Chair Mahogany. Good evening, colleagues. I think Susan Pfeiffer said it best and really provided the update, which was I was just going to do a plug for our Bay Area Coalition phone banks. And thank you to Susan just for all of the work that she is doing, not only with the high school voter registration efforts, but also with helping to represent the party at the Bay Area Coalition phone banks that are happening every week, Wednesday evenings from 5 to 7 and Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon. So these will be going on for the next few months and obviously through till the November election. So we're gaining steam. Would love for folks to join. I know there's a lot going on, as we've acknowledged. So it's constant busy season for us this year. But I will drop the link into the chat if you're able to sign up for, these are just 2-hour phone banks. So they're really pretty short and sweet. You can do them from home, join for as long as you can, join from the car, join from wherever you are, and make a few calls. It really will make the difference. Obviously, we have a long road to November. There's a lot of challenges we are up against. I think nationally right now, we really need to do everything we can to keep the House. I think that's critical. And we'll be calling into the Central Valley specifically through these phone banks to really help win seats here in California that can help us keep that House majority. So sign up if you can. Also, feel free to share with your networks as well, even just pushing out on social or to your networks. I know a lot of us know folks who were really active with us in the past phone banking. So feel free to help spread the word and share this with folks we know. Also, I'll be reaching out to some of their Democratic clubs as well to see if they'd be willing to share out with their members and potentially co-host some phone banks. And obviously, this is just the beginning. There's a lot more that we'll be planning to do as we get closer to November. Just one other item I wanted to raise too, and I will check with, circle back with Vice Chair Lacroix around some upcoming GOTV outreach. So I've been speaking with the No on H campaign. Obviously, we have endorsed or we have opposed the recall of District Attorney Boudin and No on H. And so I've been speaking with them about signing us up to host some phone banks in the next few weeks, as well as signing on to some mobilizations. And so we're talking about some dates right now, but we'll circulate that with folks once we have more info to share. But just wanted to put that on folks' radar that we'll be hopefully partnering with their campaign on some upcoming events. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Galata. Member Morales or Treasurer Morales, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everybody. Glad to be here with you all and continuing our work after the second election cycle, second, I can't even keep up of this year. So in terms of our financial sustainability for the party, we currently have about $13,500 in our coffers. Most of the money is in the state fund, and we were able to basically cover our expenses for this month and are good for next month as well. And in the coming months, I know fundraising Chair Thomas will share more details about this, but we should see a significant increase in our balances as we fundraise for our slate mail program and also begin to fundraise for our gala event honoring Congresswoman Jackie Speer. In terms of our filings, given that we are in constant election season, we are on schedule with our FPPC and FEC filings. So that's both our Fair Political Practices Commission filings with the state and also at the federal level with our Federal Election Commission filings. Our taxes should be completed and filed by the end of May. And I want to acknowledge again gratitude to our director, Moises Garcia, because over the past few months, we've been focusing on reducing our expenses, and we'll be ready to present to you all a complete budget in our May meeting, so we can continue our efforts to be transparent and to have a sustainable operation over here. So that completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer Morales, for being so diligent in following up with all of our financial obligations. Really appreciate your work there. Thank you. We will now move on to Member Thomas of the Fundraising Committee.
Thank you, Chair Mahogany, and thank you, Treasurer Morales, for your work on the accounts and the fundraising and your kind words earlier. First, just as a matter of personal privilege, I want to thank everybody on the DCCC. Last meeting, we had enormous support for Staff Up San Francisco and the city's bargaining efforts. All the public sector unions were in the middle of it at that moment, and the DCCC stood up and stood with labor. And I know that was much appreciated by everybody. After hundreds and hundreds of hours of direct bargaining, coalition bargaining, not direct, coalition bargaining together, I'm proud to report back that we did reach a tentative agreement and are in the process of ratification vote right now. So if you are a city employee, make sure you're going and voting to ratify this contract. It's hard fought and really good for working people in San Francisco. And I'm proud to see that the DCCC was a big part of supporting it. So I wanted to mention that. Jumping quickly into fundraising, as we reported last month, we have been moving forward with the plan around the fundraising event centered around honoring Jackie Spear. If you haven't already marked your calendars for August 26th, please mark that down. Moises may have already sent out a calendar hold as well, but please make sure and jot that down. We'd love to make sure that every member of the DCCC is present at this Lifetime Achievement celebration. We've been looking through venues at this time, and I want to thank Kathleen especially for the research into the various venues. There's going to be some walkthroughs this week to confirm. I'm happy to report that we've narrowed it down to 2 locations, and both those locations have agreed to waive their room fee as part of this. So that's some positive news to bring down costs for the event. We should hopefully have secured the venue ideally by the end of the week, but if not, shortly. And then once we do that, we'll be off to the races in terms of fundraising and organizing. So please expect a phone call from myself or Honey or Moises or someone from the fundraising committee to reach out to you to see if you are able to put us in contact with organizations that really valued Congresswoman Spear's service and would like to be involved with this, because we'll have the infrastructure in place and all that. So over the next month, you're going to get phone calls from all of us, and if you already have an idea or you want to get a table right away, please feel free to reach out to us ASAP. We could use all the help we can get on it. Also, as Treasurer Morales mentioned, the slate mailer for the June elections, we're going to be doing a lot of call time fundraising around, not fundraising, but raising money for those mailers that are going out. If you have an interest in helping out or being part of raising money around that piece, please let us know. And that is all I've got on my updates. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Thomas. Appreciate all your work on the fundraising committee. We will now move on to gender equity. Member Morales, is there anything you wanted to say about the gender equity committee?
Thank you for your update, Chair Mahogany. Only to add that it's, I think, as a person who's both a survivor and an advocate in gender-based violence prevention and intervention work for about 15 years, it's just very exciting to see young women of color involved with politics and the party with so much energy and vision, working to look for ways to bring a little bit more accountability into our spaces. So I think that that is very exciting. We have a lot of work to do, and we are really committed as a committee to engage broadly with Democrats in San Francisco and also advocates that have different views and perspectives on what justice and safety look like. And that's the first step that we are engaging in at the moment. So again, the invitation continues to be open for anyone that wants to join the work of the Gender Equity Committee. And yeah, that concludes my additions.
Thank you so much. And sorry to jump the gun on that earlier. All right, next we have the report from our Executive Director, Moises Garcia.
Thanks, Chair Mahogany. Just a few updates. Just want to let folks know that last year, this body passed a resolution in support of AJR Assembly Joint Resolution 17, supporting military behavioral health. It sat dormant for about a year, but is now moving forward at the Assembly. So just wanted to let folks know that that's in progress. And I know Member Barry couldn't be here, but I know something that she really supported. So I just wanted to let folks know that. Additionally, sorry, as elections season continues, we're already working on endorsements for the board of supervisors. And so I just want to thank Member Ibanez and Member Barry for their work in getting started on our questionnaires for board supervisor endorsements. Tentatively, or not tentatively, that vote will be scheduled for our July meeting. And then, so just let folks know that ahead of time. And then we'll get going on the rest of the endorsements in August. Let's see. And then since Director Kelly couldn't be here, she wanted to remind folks that the California Democratic Party's summer executive board meeting is July 8th through 10th in LA. And hotel reservations opened up yesterday and will remain open until June 16th. And that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Executive Director Garcia. So since we will not have a report from CDP Region 6 Director Henny Kelly, we will now move on to item number 6, which is a resolution in support of AB 587. Can I have a motion to consider the item?
So moved.
And can we have a, thank you very much. Moved by Member Morales and seconded by Member Thomas. And colleagues, I am the author of this resolution. AB 587 basically would require social media platforms to publicly disclose their corporate policies regarding online hate speech and racism, disinformation, extremism, and harassment, as well as key metrics and data around the enforcement of these policies. Social media platforms, as we have all seen, have widely been implicated as venues for hate groups to safely grow. And a recent study of Twitter posts from 100 different US cities found that the greater proportion of tweets related to race and ethnicity-based discrimination in a given city, the more hate crimes were occurring in that city. Additionally, a GLAAD study in 2021, just last year, reported that 64% of LGBTQ social media users polled stated that they had experienced harassment and hate speech at a much higher rate than other identity groups on social media. Investigations have also shown that the violent riots at the Capitol in early January of 2021 were abetted and encouraged by social media. So there has definitely been a lack of accountability. There has historically been a lack of accountability for social media platforms, disproportionately negatively impacting a wide range of marginalized groups, including but not limited to people of color, women, the LGBTQ community, Jewish and Muslim communities, and also people seeking reproductive justice who are additionally disproportionately targeted by online hate and adversely affected by misinformation on social media. Despite the widespread nature of these concerns, efforts by social media companies to self-police have been widely criticized as opaque, arbitrary, biased, and inadequate. And while some platforms share limited information about their efforts, the current lack of transparency has really exacerbated concerns about the intent, enforcement, and impact of corporate policies, and deprived policymakers and the general public of critical data and metrics regarding the scope and scale of online hate and disinformation. It is abundantly clear that the additional transparency is needed to allow consumers and the public to make informed choices about the impact of these platforms so that researchers, civil society leaders, community advocates, and policymakers can all determine the best means to address this growing threat. So that is why I have brought forward this resolution in support of Assembly Bill 587, which was introduced by Assemblymember Jesse Gabriel and co-authored by Assembly members Bauer, Khan, Lee, McCarty, Robert Rivas, Ward, Wicks, and also Senator Scott Wiener. And again, it will require social media platforms to publicly disclose their corporate policies regarding online hate, disinformation, extremism, harassment, and foreign interference, as well as provide key metrics and data regarding the enforcement of these policies. And I hope to have everyone's support on this measure. At this time, I would like to open it up to the rest of my colleagues if they have any comments on this resolution. All right, seeing none, can we have?
I would like to offer a comment if I may.
Oh, sure.
I was looking for the raised hand button, but I couldn't find it. But yeah, Member Barry's very excited about supporting this, and all of your reflections, Chair Mahogany, on the problems presented by social media companies and their arbitrariness are absolutely spot on. I would encourage support for this resolution and much, much more beyond it, particularly antitrust reforms at the federal level to go beyond merely forcing disclosure of corporate policies and disclosures of metrics. The only way to really constrain corporate influence and ensure corporate accountability to the public in this arena are antitrust solutions, and there are many of them. Some have been proposed. There's a new chair at the Federal Trade Commission, lots of promise and opportunity here. It's one of the areas where Washington has unfortunately been largely asleep at the switch under the leadership of both parties over the last generation. Thank you for writing this resolution.
Thank you. Member Barry's proxy, Shahid Buttar. Thank you. Colleagues, I don't see anyone else with a hand raised. So at this point, can we have a motion to approve the item?
Move by acclamation.
All right. Is there a second to that?
Seconded.
Thank you very much. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Nay. Any abstentions?
Kim abstains.
Okay, Member Kim abstains. Anyone else? All right, thank you so much, colleagues. This resolution is adopted. We will now move on to item number 7, which is a resolution in support of increasing the minimum wage in the state of California. Can I have a motion to consider the item, please?
So moved.
So moved.
Sorry, who was the first one?
I think maybe Member Moliga.
Oh, Member Moliga, and then seconded by Member Morales.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. I just wanting to help out the recording secretary there. Thank you, colleagues. This is also a resolution that I have brought forward. Just for some background, the federal and state laws currently forbid employers from paying their workers less than the minimum wage. The federal minimum wage is currently $7.25 per hour and has remained unchanged since 2009. In 2003, San Francisco voters passed a local minimum wage, becoming the first local jurisdiction to pass a minimum wage rate that was higher than both the federal and state minimum wage. In 2014, San Francisco voters passed a new initiative to increase the local minimum wage to $15 per hour by July 1, 2018, and then to adjust the wage rate each July 1st thereafter based on the annual increase in the Consumer Price Index. Currently, the San Francisco minimum wage is $16.32 per hour, and on July 1st, 2022, it will increase to $16.99. In regards to the state, legislation signed into law in 2016 by former Governor Jerry Brown has moved California's minimum wage from $10 an hour to $15 per hour over the past 5 years for employers with more than 25 employees. Yet it is clear that for many people throughout the state, this is still not sufficient. And low-wage workers who are often essential workers who kept our state running and met critical needs during the pandemic deserve to be paid enough to meet their basic needs and the needs of their families. Currently, there are efforts underway to increase California minimum wage to help meet the needs of working people and keep up with the rising costs of living. My goal in bringing this forward is to firmly establish the San Francisco Democratic Party's position as supporting all workers, including low-wage workers, and making sure that everyone in California is able to make a living and take care of themselves and their families. And I hope to have your support. At this time, I'd like to open it up for other members to comment on this item. Seeing no hands, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to adopt by acclamation.
Thank you, Member Thomas. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Lovett. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? And any abstentions? All right, seeing none, the item is approved. Thank you, colleagues, for your support. We are now going to move on to item number 8, which is new business. Is there anything that anyone would like to bring forward at this time?
Member Barry did ask me to share one thing with
Sure.
the DCCC. I don't think anybody needs a reminder, but on June 7th, our district attorney is on the ballot, and this body's already voted to reject the attempt to recall him. He is a visionary, and this ballot presents an opportunity for our city to either stand behind, for instance, the decision to end cash bail and the decision to find humane alternatives to predatory incarceration as pathways to a more meaningful justice and public safety. It's not the only race that will be on the ballot. It's not the only one that's been subject to widespread disinformation, and it's not the only one that offers our city a chance to either live up to our reputation or instead abandon it.
Thank you for those comments. Would anyone else like to bring any new business to the body? Okay, seeing none, this might be on the record for the shortest DCCC meeting of all time. Are there any in memoriams that folks would like to offer at this time? All right, I don't see any. On that note, I will just speak to what Mr. Tar had said earlier, which is that we do need, I think it is incumbent on all of us to get involved in the 7th election and to make sure that we are participating. So I know we're all busy. I'm sure we will all continue to be busy, and hopefully we can all organize as a party to support those items which we have endorsed. So thank you again for that reminder, Mr. Vitar. Thank you everyone for being here tonight. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And with that, we will adjourn. Thank you.